In this lesson, we will create our muscle's global control. So this control will be used to reposition, reorient, and resize the muscle. Let's go ahead and get to it. We'll create a box. We won't actually use the box, just a few of its edges. Sorry, box. Let's go ahead and do this. We'll go ahead and press the S key to turn on snapping. We'll start at the base. Let's go ahead and snap the grid, and then we'll go ahead and bring this up to the helper at the top. And here's what we end up with. All right, sweet. Let's go ahead and right-click to exit the box tool. We'll also disable snapping. And then we can jump to our Modify panel. Let's go ahead and increase the segments of the box's length, width, and also the height. That way we can grab just a few edges around the sides of our box and create a type of boundary or cage. So I'm going to go ahead and set the length segment parameter to 3. I'll do the same thing for the width. And the height, we can set that to 5. All right, great. Let's go ahead and right-click and convert this to an editable poly object. We'll go to our edge subobject level. And now let's go ahead and grab 3 edges on each side of our box. So there's 1, there's 2, there's 3, and 1 more, and that will complete the top. So I'm just control-clicking to add to my selection. Let's now go ahead and move to the base. We'll press the G key to hide our grid. That'll make it much easier to select edges that are right on top of our grid. All right, fantastic. So just a few more to select, and then we can go ahead and convert this to a shape. Let's go ahead and check our selection. That looks fantastic. Underneath our Edit Edges rollout, we'll go ahead and find a tool that's called Create Shape from Selection. Let's go ahead and choose that. We'll make sure that this is a linear shape type, and we'll name this muscle underscore global. Let's go ahead and choose OK. We no longer need the box. Let's go ahead and trash it. And there we have it. If you would like, you can change the color of your spline. I actually like this color. I think it's bright enough, it's easy to select. But feel free to change the color if you don't quite like what Max has given you by default. Next, let's go ahead and store this in our muscle main layer. Wonderful. And then from there, what I'd like to do is go ahead and reset the X-form on this object. I basically like to do that for any object that can deform. It's just a good rule of thumb I like to keep in mind. That way its transforms are completely clean and we don't have to worry about any scaling, skewing issues, things like that. So what I'll do is go ahead and head over to the Utilities tab. With it selected, we'll then go ahead and choose Reset X-form. Reset selected. You'll see that we now have this X-form modifier that's above the editable spline object. And this is where all of the old transform data is stored. Let's go ahead and collapse that down. We don't need that, right? So we'll go to collapse. We'll make sure we're using the first choice as our output type. That's modifier stack result. We'll click on collapse selected. Now when we jump back to the modify panel, you'll notice that it's nice and clean. Next, let's go ahead and alt right click and choose freeze transform. We'll choose yes. So now as we start to move this around, we'll reorient it. We could always just go ahead and bring it back to its starting point with transform to 0. At this point, you should ask, all right, would I like the pivot to be at the base or at the center of this object? It might be easier to manipulate if the pivot is centered. So let's do this. We'll go to our hierarchy panel. We'll choose Effect Pivot Only, and we'll choose Center to Object. Once we have changed the pivot point, again, we have to go ahead and freeze our transforms because that will throw things off when we try to use transform to 0. All right, nice. So now it's just a matter of taking our helpers, and we'll go ahead and link them to our global node, and then we'll freeze their transforms to finish this lesson. And there we have it. So our work is done here. In the next lesson, we'll create the muscle spline, and we'll also create its secondary controls.